Have you heard about Anchor? Well, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. And there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make your money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
This music, it became a part of me.
Because of that, nobody
Go
on
say
it.
it.
Come on.
Where do I start? Should I start from the beginning? Chasing all these pretty women. They used to call me a dog. They didn't care about a nigga feelings. When my car was a hoopty, when my car was my 2 feet, only paper on me was loose leaf. Where do I start?
Bonjour, bonjour. What's
Bonjour, messieurs.
Ça passe, foi. Ça passe.
Okay, quick.
Crack.
Yo, Mr. Devil.
What's good?
Oh, Mr. Devil. Devil Mapuelo. C'est pas Mbana Devil, avo. Devil Mapuelo.
Well, it better be a good conversation for you to keep it, Mr. Deville.
Do you remember when we were in PS208 and we had a show and tell, and then you brought in like tablet or something like that?
Yeah.
Son, one thing that I will regret and I will never forget. So everybody knew that we were cousins, right? So when you brought in the tablet, I was so embarrassed to be Haitian.
Yeah.
That I walked out the classroom to go use the bathroom when you were presenting the tablet.
Oh my gosh. You know what makes it worse? You know what happened when I served everybody tablet?
What?
So, you know, not to be rude, but these kids were not ready. They bit right into that tablet. And you know, mama old school tablet, yo. You don't just go in for the bite. You got to nibble.
What happened then?
I'm talking like,
That's
teeth
funny.
getting stuck. I'm talking like half of the kids like, the other half, their teeth was not strong enough for tablet. They lost teeth that day.
Yo.
But they wasn't sad about it because, you know, they tasted something brand new.
It was good. Son. Because the reason why I was embarrassed to be Haitian at our age at that point. Like, we used to get picked on a lot for being Haitian, yo. So, especially like the Jamaican kids.
Yo.
So I was embarrassed. So, man, I'm embarrassed to even bring it up now I'm embarrassed that I was embarrassed. Like, because I didn't really even understand our culture, the history at that point. You know, in elementary school, you know, we're Haitian and you know, kids are just making fun of you. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want a lot of people to know that I'm Haitian because they're going to think that I'm broke and poor.
Man, I got stories for days on that if that's the case.
Yeah, one thing that I admired is that you were proud. You didn't really care.
Hey, that's awesome.
You didn't really care, but I cared. And I was like embarrassed for like the rest of my life because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just walked out the class because I didn't want everybody to know that I was Haitian. But they knew anyway because my last name is Jean.
There was like 4 kids in there named Jean, though.
I feel like back in those days, there was a few Haitians in the class. You just didn't know because they didn't want to spread their wings.
Exactly.
You feel me?
You got that wink off to the side here and there.
Somebody says one thing about Haitians, like, yeah, let me not speak Creole.
Yep.
But how was it growing up for y'all? And like especially like in like Massachusetts or you know places that's like where Haitians are not huge.
What, man? All right, so I'm gonna go right on in there. Like, I literally, again, I personally wasn't prepared because, like, so I'm thinking I was balling. I had my little food stamp money. Tell me why the lunch lady was like, "Yo, are you kidding me? You really brought this here to try and buy food and everything like that?" Like, nobody explained what this means. Like, what's wrong with you? Mind you, this is in the middle of the lunch line. everybody's listening. Like, oh man, that kid's stupid.
Oh no.
And yeah, that was the literal like first taste of damn. I gotta like check myself sometimes. You know, I gotta double check to see if this is proper, because maybe it isn't proper.
I mean, personally, for me, if you look at me, I was born and raised in Boston, Mattapan. So growing up, Haitian was, the most stressful situation because in that time there was a lot of other Haitians we were surrounded by. In our apartment buildings, in our neighborhood, people knew about the Haitian community, the Haitian culture. You really didn't get the jokes cracking on the Haitians like that. So I feel like it's a demographic and where you kind of were raised. I feel like in New York, there's such a diverse culture. Everybody's always cracking jokes here and there. But in Boston, to me, as growing up as a kid, elementary school, nobody really knew what Haitians was. I mean, we had a few Jamaicans that kind of see what all right, he's Haitian. All right, they could communicate and understand. But once I moved to Worcester and elementary school, third grade, nobody knew what a Haitian was. I was in a class full of white kids, and the first Haitian kid I met was Jason. This kid named Jason. It was like, yo, you're Haitian too? It was like, word. Other than that, nobody knew what the hell we was. Nobody knew what a Haiti was. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, that's my experience. It wasn't a bad experience. It's just nobody just really knew too much about the culture. So nobody really had nothing much to say,
Yeah, like even when I got to high school, I went to high school in Manhattan, and they had a few kids who never knew where Haiti was either. They didn't even know that it was an island in the Caribbean. The earthquake put Haiti on the map.
Exactly.
In a lot of different ways.
I like the phrase when people be like, oh, you're Haitian? I like to respond with, you're welcome.
And the thing, too, which I want to elaborate on, is when the people say, you're Haitian, I'm like, yeah, so what do you know about the Haitian culture? I don't know. Sac passe. What's that mean? What's sac passe? It's like the only thing people know. Like, no, come on.
Yeah, and they say, oh, do you speak Haitian?
It's like, it's curl. That's a big thing,
oh,
too.
Man. That's definitely one of my pet peeves. Do you speak Haitian? I'm like, no.
Do you speak Haitian?
I speak Creole.
I'm a huge anime fan, right? So we all have an idea of what, Dragon Ball Z and Saiyans and stuff like that. Like my biggest crisscross back in the day was the word Haitian, what has all the same letters as Saiyan, right?
Yeah.
So in my mind back then was like, oh look, this is the Chinese version of a Haitian story from back in the day. Look, they just changed the spelling from Haitian, my definition of Haitian, to Saiyan. So that's how I always clicked it in my head of like, yo, look how proud they are, look how crazy they are. Like that's always been the click in my mind of this is why Haitians are so proud. They just like Super Saiyans, you know what I mean? Like I would hate to meet a Super Saiyan Haitian.
Wow, Haitians.
Imagine that energy, imagine that confidence coming through every Haitian you meet. Like you don't think we have the potential to take over and do whatever we want? I mean,
we're a strong culture. It's just the togetherness part. I feel like we as a culture, and not only in Haitian culture, African American culture, is pride. It's like number one. We're so prideful as a people. And if we could look past pride and try to come together and, I think we could come far as a culture and a community.
Yeah, like recreational marijuana is a big money grab right now, where you see nations all over the world are changing their laws to get some of that tax money involved with it. And I think if Haiti can be a little bit less prideful, they can definitely
big time.
benefit from that.
Big time. I agree with that.
We still got major exports in sugar. We still got major exports in like multiple types of grain out of Haiti, especially even coffee still. So like, why not be able to push some type of greenery, some type of base to grow greenery, any type of thing to help the that type of business push. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I hear too, Haiti has a little bit to do in the tobacco game too. So it's like, why not come together and expand all these things as opposed to keep it in certain people's hands and only certain people dealing with it? Like, why can't everybody own and buy land there's so much in Haiti and just start getting into these things. Like the marijuana piece is like it's a hot ticket right now, and Haiti has so much land that you can go back to buy and grow. Us as our people, I'm talking, not like outsiders, but us as a people could do it, and we could thrive with that.
The question is, who do we trust within us as a people?
Exactly, yeah. I think it's going to have to start individually. People with the business mindset who's willing to take, like, who can raise money, but willing to also take that risk. Like, you can never have the success without the risk. So it's who's willing to take that risk to say, all right, I want to grab some money, build up, get the business game plan, and go to Haiti and start growing plants. Haitian parents are so opposing of weed and us being high.
What you mean? That Zeb? That Buzz?
You think they used to smoke?
They've been there.
Exactly.
They're just not used to the high, I think, personally. All the smokers in the family, man. The guys who smoked cigarettes was once weed.
Yo, I believe it, yo.
Yeah, that Haitian stigma in marijuana is crazy. Like
it's the
back
biggest
in the 90s.
They think you're like a crackhead or something. Like, no, this stuff has healing powers. This stuff, if it's more than getting high. It's like if you take the strands and you properly break them down, you could turn them into lotions, oils, put them in food, and you know what I mean. I've seen that. Yeah, go ahead.
Imagine revamping Wheel Musketeer for the new era.
I think that's the most powerful thing that you can do for people who know Haitians. If you know Wheel Musketeer, like I always tell my man, Wheel Musketeer could turn a box TV into a flat screen. So what was you guys' first experience like being high? The first time you smoked weed?
Man, you... Damn, I don't know if I want to tell you this.
Do you guys remember?
I do.
I'll tell you my first experience. Man, me and my boys are just chilling, it's the summertime and I'm in college, whatever. And my other boy, he was in college. He was like, yo, we're about to go hang back to the dorm room. So it was me, him, a couple other people. Dude whips out a bong, bro, like big as hell. And everybody was taking drags on it. I was like, oh, shit, I was like, my first time smoking weed, I don't even know how this shit works. It was like, this is what you do, da-da-da-da. So you put it in there, I take the drag. Bro, that shit went straight to my chest. When I say that shit did not feel comfortable at all, it was just like, I was high for like a few hours, bro. Gravity bong never hit me so hard. I was fucking falling up the stairs going to my crib.
Oh, that's a good fact.
Bro, I felt like, when you're in a plane and it finally lands, when I got to my bed, bro, I passed out. I felt like that plane was finally landing, bro. It was just crazy. That was the first time I ever got high like that.
I bet you woke up lit.
Bro, I woke up. I was just like, yo, what the fuck? I was lost. And I was like, you know what? I'm not the best guy to smoke weed and do other extracurricular activities. I'm more for just smoke and lay back because I was like, huh? Especially at night, I was like, huh? I was lost.
That's a scary feeling.
It's no
that's
plus
a
one.
Scary feeling.
You have
Imagine
no
when
idea.
You feeling that feeling for the first time.
Ooh.
That's a scary feeling. That's why I was like, yo, I don't think I want to do this anymore.
Yo, and I think that's where our parents got lost in the sauce. But for us, we kept going back at it to master the craft. So we just like, nah, I'm gonna master this craft. Our parents was like, nah. Some people was one and done. We was like, you know what?
I just remember being hungry.
That's a different type of
being
hungry.
Really, really hungry.
I wasn't smoking. It was my senior year. I was like I was a drinker, so I'm chilling, relaxing, blunts going around, everybody's cooling, cypher, of course. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, why not, right? Senior year, I feel like I missed the big stuff. No, not miss the big stuff. Don't mix mix your weed with your liquor and alcohol, all this stuff, especially for first time. I call my boss and I tell my boss I've been drinking and I smoked marijuana, and I actually said marijuana like that. Mind you, it's my boss at the boyfriend.
Yikes.
You know what I mean? It's my boss. I said, listen, can you call Farrah for me, please? Because she dropped me off and she said she was going to come back and she never came back. This is only 10 minutes pass. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
so I'm begging for Fa to
It
come
hits you
find
hard.
me, and Fa come pick me up. Fa figure out I'm lit as hell and somewhat drunk. She tells me I got AIDS on me, and I gotta get undressed so I can jump in the shower so I can like get unlit. So they tricked me to run home and jump in a shower and basically get unlit.
Yeah.
That was my first time with smoking.
So how do y'all feel about now that it's decriminalized in all these states, and now I think they even had talks of decriminalizing it federally, but people are still locked up for having a dime bag.
If it didn't come along with violence or some type of premeditation to put someone in danger or something like that, then I definitely agree with getting it expunged. But if it was one in a situation where he just got his bag and he was trying to get home and enjoy, come on now, that's bugging.
Yeah, I think they gotta classify it. There's different criteria in my head. First criteria, was there violence involved? Was there weapons involved? Was it a drug quote unquote deal? That's
I
one
mean, did you
thing.
set
Two,
somebody up and jump them?
exactly. Like two, how much weed were you talking? If you talking, all right, if you pulling over dime bags and eighths, that shit should be put that shit to the
Yeah,
side. But when you're talking
automatic.
about tons, and bags and
Right. So
pounds,
what's the difference between a ton and a dime?
all right, the difference between a ton and a dime is all right. What's the difference between a street gang and the what do you call it? A crime syndicate or the street gang and the
I
Mexican
was gonna say
crime
the
lords?
Okay,
cartel.
so they're saying that because if you got a
Exactly.
ton, it's like
Yeah.
intent. It's like
Yeah, it's
intent
that
to
intent.
sell.
The intent to make millions compared to intent to make $20.
I mean, of
Right.
course, you got to make sure.
You can't
Yeah,
tax $20.
exactly.
You could tax millions, but you can't tax $20. And that's why the government goes so hard on these. What do you call it? Like the mafias and like that's the
I
difference,
mean,
man.
not to throw everything off though, but Pablo Escobar got hippos taking over Colombia right now. Because
Yeah, yo, you heard about that, right? They call it the coke
hippos,
hippos
I
or
thought the
something like
hippos had
that.
coke in them, so I clicked on the link.
They calling them the coke hippos.
I'm like, oh my,
Bro,
there's hippos with coke, and I'm like, oh my, what's going on? But no,
bro,
they're just mad hippos. They try to kill them. They try to take them out. There's just mad hippos, and hippos are fierce, yo. They could take your shit out.
too. Think
But on
about
the
that.
real
And
too,
everything. Yeah.
that's why if you do legalize marijuana in these Caribbean countries, it would lessen the crime in a lot of ways.
Because people are too high to do
And
do anything.
nah, because of the taxes, they'll be making more money if the countries can tax the legalization of it. Places like Haiti, they can really get any type of income will benefit them. You know what I mean? So having that where people can use it and still tax, it can be good for the people, for businesses, and for the
I mean, even
economy. But Haiti has been behind in that because a lot of other places in the Caribbean are already decriminalizing it, but I don't think Haiti has took a step forward yet in saying, yeah, we're going to decriminalize it.
we were good at this, and we're gonna continue to do this. Like, why not put out more?
So now that we have a new president, we got the first woman vice president in Kamala Harris. And they also hired Karine Jean-Pierre, who's the press secretary.
Ooh, she's Asian.
She's Haitian American. So that's definitely big props to them for hiring another Haitian American in there. I think there's also another woman, I forget her name.
I'm proud to say I'm Haitian. I'm proud to represent Haitian. When I'm at work, I tell people my culture, and I tell people one thing. We as a culture are coming so far. To have somebody like Karine in there doing her thing, and the other Haitians in the White House doing their thing, it speaks volumes to how far we've come. To having the label of just people coming off the boat and doing XYZ to being here in the White House with high-ranking officials, it's like a breath of fresh air,
You see, like the NBA and the NFL, they're not testing for marijuana anymore. So, like, what do you think? You think those players are getting high before
Not
every
before
game now?
games, but definitely at practice.
Oh,
Definitely
after?
after. They deserve it after.
Well, there's a difference. You have the guys that's functional on it and that can do it, but then there's the guys that I gotta wait till after the game just to relieve the pressure,
like everybody else.
like everybody
Yeah.
else.
I mean, to each his own. It's a medication, so not everybody needs Tylenol in the beginning. They need it after, right?
Yeah, and people keep thinking that the players could just be getting high, but they're not using the THC to get high. So they're using the CBD properties in order to heal from the injuries and, make their body feel more relaxed
Yeah.
instead of the THC, which makes you, the psychedelic
And it's
effect.
helping them with their healing, and I'm pretty sure with their recovery time is diminishing.
Exactly. I mean, it's a whole bunch of different array of stuff. Like one of the basketball players, he was talking about how his grandma was smoking and it helped cleared up a lot of health issues that she had. And he was like, yo, like, you guys got to understand, like, this could correlate to the players because some of these guys, after a long night, are beaten and bruised, and this could help them get through.
Al Harrington, right?
Yeah, Al Harrington podcast on there. And,
Yeah.
I'm elaborating off that. And it was just important. Like, man, that's crazy. People, and then he was talking about his grandma was a skeptic, like how our parents are skeptics. I ain't smoking that. I ain't doing that.
What
But
I would
boom.
love our parents to be at least cook with some weed. I mean, at least cook with it.
I think in our generation, our parents, like my mom, for instance, she got a bad knee. She got, blood pressures all over the place. And, sometimes the health issues catch up. And to be honest, who's to say that a little weed wouldn't get her through the day? A little CBD oil or something like that couldn't get her through her day where she's fine,
Shoot.
You just
I think
never know.
I think they got CBD ointments in the mall and stuff like that now. I've seen some stores like that. So sometimes people just gotta
to a holistic effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some ointments. You could just get it off in the store now. CBD, people are just selling it out in states now. It's legal to sell anywhere. It's not a THC. But sometimes I walk around and I just see it being sold now. How about your Celtics, man? They like 2 games above 500 right now. So you like it that beating and big games the other night, though?
Yeah, man, that was crazy. I think that's purely from just us, just lack of missing a guy on our team. Just like if you go back to Embiid and Embiid is just not there on their team, they're getting waxed because Ben Simmons is only going to give you that 12 points. But nobody's going to give you that 40 that Embiid is giving.
Yeah, but you got Jaylen Brown, though. Jaylen Brown could drop 40.
Yeah, but Jaylen Brown, he did his thing, but the supporting cast, they used to give him the ball up to another guy. And
so now you want 2 guys to be able to drop 40, though.
I mean,
that's okay.
You got to have a complete team to get the production that
you
want
all 5 of them should be dropping 40. Why not?
Nah, that can't work.
That's like saying, all right, let's go to LA. Let's transition to LA for 1 quick second. I say LeBron is missing one night where AD is missing one night. You think you're going to get the same production from the other guys? Most likely not.
If you're a championship team, yeah, you should. Because you still got Kemba could drop 40 and Jaylen Brown could drop 40. So really, Celtics got 3 players that could drop 40 any given night.
So
yeah,
3 dropping 40?
Well,
3 out of 5.
Yeah, they've had what's Kemba's career high? 60 something, right?
Yeah, but that conversation dies when you go to a team like the Clippers that were quote unquote championship bound. They get to the playoff game and they absolutely flop. It happens.
Yeah, Kemba looked like a flopper, bro. I don't know what y'all gonna do with Kemba, man.
Kemba, he's not a flopper. I think he's a consistent player. He just had a couple of injuries. I think he's healthy now.
But why the coach keep pulling him like that, though?
You just got to minimize the time when it comes to certain injuries. You just got to minimize and control these players.
But the coach, I don't think y'all coach believe in Kemba, son.
What? If Kemba,
I don't think he believe in Kemba.
Kemba would have been gone by now if that was the case. If he didn't believe in Kemba,
nobody want him.
What you mean? He's a good player to have. He's a good player to have.
He is, but I think when he got on the team, he realized that Jaylen Brown and Tatum is better than him. So that he butthurt because he thought that
I think
he was gonna be the man.
He still is the guy, but you gotta understand these guys are just as great. You got 2 solidified superstars, young superstars on the team that are on max contracts that you're gonna have long term. So it works out for the Celtics. Only thing that we're missing that's important in basketball, it doesn't matter if you're playing in the 80s, 90s, or the 70s, you gotta have a big man. You can't survive the game without a big man, and we can see that.
But I got Tristan Thompson, son.
Tristan
that's
Thompson
a big man.
He's not a good big man. He's not consistent. He has no consistency. His defense lacks, and on top of his defense, He's not a consistent scorer at all either. He can't even average more than 15 points a game.
Okay, but him plus Tice, if you put that together, that's not going to
Him
give you
plus Tice,
something.
you're averaging what? 10, 12 points?
Really? How much they both averaging?
They both ain't averaging no more than 7, 8, 9 points.
Son, you should be able to get 20 and 20 out of them dudes, son.
Yeah, but you're not. That's Tristan Thompson when he was playing with the Cavs and LeBron. That's not the Tristan Thompson nowadays. Daniel Tice is a consistent guy. He gives you boards, effort, and good rebound, but at the same time, he's not giving you the scoring that you need to compete with the Lakers and the Embiid.
Yo, but that's why you got Tatum, Brown, and Kemba. You paying that's $300 million right there.
$300 million, but at the same time, you need a big man that's going to make up for the lack of production.
If the Celtics don't make it to the finals, they need to blow that team up.
No. I think you want to see the team blown up because you see how good that team is.
Yo, I can't look. Every time I see Tatum shoot the ball, I just close my eyes. I'm like, it's going in.
You have 2 kids, young kids at that. Kids that are not even older than 22 years old that are superstars getting paid big dollars because they're that good. Now, if you can surround them with one really, really good point guard and one really, really good either power forward combo center, it's a wrap. How you gonna stop them?
Son, I don't know what else. I don't know what else y'all need. So I hope y'all win those close.
When LeBron's gone, who y'all gonna have? When Embiid goes down, the Sixers, nobody knows the Sixers. When LeBron's injured, nobody wants to watch an AD, Caldwell Pope, Schroeder show. Nobody wants to watch that. So you gotta think about it. Who's the next big ticket? It's gonna be the Jason Tatum and JT and Jaylen Brown. It's gonna be other guys that are superstars that are coming up in the ranks. Nobody's gonna want to watch those guys anymore.
So I still think one of them dudes gotta get traded though.
Nah, you just hating.
Either JT gotta go.
I think
Jaylen Brown gotta go.
I think that's haterade because you see how good they are.
A little bit, but
I
feel like they need their own team. One of them need their own team though. So
I mean, I understand the hate because Jason Tatum, ever since he stepped in the league, I think he's been averaging more points than Ben Simmons.
Oh, hell yeah. You remember there was a point where we were discussing who's better. Is it Ben or is it Tatum? I think Tatum took that night. I ain't going to front.
Tatum, in my opinion, and Jaylen Brown, I feel like the reason why they're just a little bit better than Ben Simmons is because they went to college. They got a taste of the college life. They got coached well by their people. They got used to that thing, and they transitioned themselves. So what are you guys doing for the Super Bowl? How do you guys feel? You guys think Tom Brady's going to get the 7th ring or Mahomes is going to get back-to-back?
Son, like right now for me at this point, you know how I do not like Tom Brady. Now, personally, you know me and Tom Brady. You know me and Tom Brady.
A true New Yorker.
So, but at this point, being 43 years old and in his 10th Super Bowl, if this man wins this thing again, I have to give it up to him, son. I just have to. Like
you gotta send him an email and say, Tom Brady, I've been hating for too long. My bad.
I have to. Yeah, I think I might have to do that. Like I might have to add him on a tweet. Like, okay, I apologize for all the years that I've hated on you because, yeah, you are the GOAT. But if he doesn't win, I'm gonna be so happy.
Oh man,
son, I really want the Holmes to just cream him on Sunday, yo. I really hope they do.
Born and raised in New England. Since a youngin', I knew about Tom Brady, and I'm 30 years old now, and I want to say, Brady, go get that 7th one, man. You need this one. The culture needs this one to end all types of debates, to end all types of arguments, what you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. Tom Brady's going to end a lot of things if he gets this championship.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to say at his age, if he could still do that, there's no excuse for me not to do anything at the next few years. Like,
exactly.
There's no reason for me to give up now.
Yeah, right.
And from a physical standpoint, for people who say, man, I can't do this. Man, I can't do that. This guy is that age, getting hit by young kids,
Word.
getting up and just battling and battling and battling.
So you think that it was more Tom Brady than Bill Belichick with all them chips before?
As you can see, on paper and on TV, the real culture, the real person who's really doing everything that had a big mark was Tom. Don't get me wrong, Bill Belichick is an amazing coach. It takes a team, it takes a village, whatever you call it. But right now, I think Tom has proven something that this is historical. If he could win this game, a lot of the doubters, a lot of the people, there's nothing more they can say. Because everybody always comes at him like, yo, you only won because of Bill Belichick.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's like saying, yo, you're only successful because your pops is rich. That's like saying that. You know what I mean? That hurts.
I mean, if your pops done blessed you with all the gifts that God can bestow, you know what I mean? Like, someone's gonna hate on that, but it depends on whether you use it or not. Tell me not.
Yeah, so it's like, for me, I know that for the Chiefs to win, I hope they get the ball first. And I hope that they score on their first drive. Like, the Chiefs got to come out and pounce on them. They can't give Tom Brady any daylight. Like, if the game is close, I think the Bucs is going to take it because it's just Tom Brady. But if the Chiefs going to win, they can't make it a close game. They got to just blow them out. But after I seen Tyreek Hill do that backflip in the end zone, I feel like the Bucs are like gonna come for his neck.
I think personally, it's like I've seen a lot of Super Bowl. I've seen a lot of Patriots team, a lot of different teams coming to the game in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. And this one, I just can't put my finger on it because this is like two teams that you just like, man, I can't believe they made it and they're here. They were doubted, but this team is so good. They were here last year. But how they gonna fare up to a guy that's has the experience that he has, you know?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Because Patrick Mahomes was playing him in his conference last year, and he didn't have to play Tom Brady. It was just the AFC, the title game, you know.
Right.
But now this is the big stage. This is gonna be cool.
I'm surprised that with COVID that they actually made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So what's good with some Haitian music? What's new?
Everybody's just really focusing on getting whatever they've had currently out there, making sure people are listening, using social media more as an outlet to make sure people are in tune. A lot of the guys nowadays are just doing like streaming their live band stuff so that people can make sure that they don't forget about them, that they're still relevant. It's been pretty calm, you know. You had a couple of guys who were just doing their thing. Jay Beats, he has a new hit on. They've been doing a lot of Rabo Die. I don't know if you hear this. It's a type of Haitian music that's been pretty popular within the last year or so.
Rabo Die.
Yeah, man. You guys got to get on it.
It sounds like some Rough Riders. Rabo Die.
It's like a certain type of like kind of type of upbeat music that's really making the wave, and you know, it's doing its thing. But other than that, Haitian music has been calm. You know, you got a couple of people doing things, but it's not grown. It's not getting as big because these guys are not outside doing their concerts and such. So it's been pretty quiet in the Haitian community, I would say.
Something about that. I've seen a lot of like Haitian rappers are coming out now, rapping in Creole.
Yeah, but they're not getting that shine. You know, Haitian rap never gets the shine. You can't overlap Haitian compa.
Yeah. So if they did a verses in Haitian version, who do you think should be on it?
If we did a Haitian versus, it's gonna be legendary. Sweet Mickey gotta be on it.
Yeah,
Sweet Mickey gotta be on. That's one guy.
Yo.
I want to see Sweet Mickey go against. Oof, that's a tough one. You know, Sweet Mickey's always cursing out T-Vice and Top Vice. You know, those guys. So that would be an interesting versus. And I think another versus who I'd kind of want to see is Wyclef in a versus.
So Sweet Mickey and Wyclef.
But, you know, it's Haitian music versus that rap music, but I think they could make it work.
Yeah, he had a Haitian album, too.
I think they could make it work.
Yeah, that'll be dope. Because Versus had their whole Jamaican part. Why can't we have a Haitian Versus?
We legendary, man. You just don't see it too often. We haven't touched the Haitian Versus yet. The last Versus that came out, it was Ashanti and Keisha Cole. I wasn't too impressed.
That was a top Versus I heard, though.
It was the top verse because I feel like every female came out and tried to see what they was gonna put on the table and relive these high school, middle school vibes. And to me personally, I just felt like it just wasn't top tier.
Yeah. I mean, it's like everyone that comes out is like it got to top the last one.
Exactly.
So the level has risen so high. It's like it's hard to even surpass it. So our expectation is so high for it now.
Exactly.
So it's gonna be hard for the next person again after Ashanti and Keisha Cole. That's why they're so nervous because they're like, "Yo, we gotta be perfect, or people was gonna criticize the hell out of us."
I just didn't think they had a good setup.
Yeah,
They were on there texting on their phones, drinking tea, da da da. I'm like, what? This is supposed to be like a concert kind of setting, like a battle in a sense, like your song versus my song. Like it was like a hangout session. I was like, I could have done this somewhere else. You know?
but they look good though.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. Don't get me wrong. They're beautiful,
good,
and they have made great music throughout their careers.
Yeah, I think Swiss Beats and Timbaland just came up with it's a genius idea in that thing, man. Like that was just
So they started VerZuz.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah. It started with them and they did the first verses. It was like years ago on YouTube. They just had like a battle, like who did the most beats and who battled with the best, who created the most beats for Jay-Z. And then
That's awesome.
And then they had another one with like Just Blaze and somebody else. I forget who it was. And then that was like years ago. And then they kind of like calmed down. And then when the pandemic came out, it looked like they started it up again, but they did it on Instagram this time. And that's when the verses really took off.
Yeah, I like that though. The verses has been changing up the game.
Yeah,
bringing something nice and fresh to the culture, getting people up out of their seats. I mean, when that Jamaican verses came out, was it Beanie Man?
Yeah,
and it was going against
Bounty
Killer. Man, I'll tell you, that was an interesting verses right there, man. It's because to see your reggae legends come out and do something like that, it was historical too. I really like that.
That was the best one for me.
Yeah, I really was feeling that one.
That joint was just fun. Because ever since after that, all the verses, they had to do it together now because they set like a precedent for it now. So they really stepped the game up for verses.
And this climate too, if you really look at it, like nobody can really come outside. It's like, I think it's important. Versus really, giving people that entertainment too, that much needed entertainment.
I just watched Nas Drink Champs. That was like, I think it's like a few months old or even a year old, but it felt so brand new to me, and I was like, damn, I wanna go through the whole discography again, and I did. That's what I'm saying.
Nas come
that's
back.
Spicy. That's my ugh.
So yeah, I'm happy. I'm really happy for Nas. That I didn't think that he would come out
and
still be hot again to the youngins, but he still found a way to do that again. It's for a while. People were saying
that's what it was.
I don't think they hated on him. I just think that when these guys come out with content at the age that they're coming out with, and then they're overshadowed by all these younger guys, it's just like, man, are you doing this to try to come back and be relevant again because you see these guys doing their thing, or are you really trying to come back because you love the game? That's where a lot of people,
in my opinion, though, when they was hating on Nas, they was hating on him when he dropped that, hip hop was dead. Everybody was talking shit. You know what I mean? Nobody wanted to hear that, of course. But at the same time, yeah, like how are you gonna come back and drop a hip hop album and say some shit like that? I thought you was finished, right? Go home, right? That's the kind of feel.
Where he did say hip hop is dead, and now he on some
exactly. So
I love everybody music and all that stuff.
You know what I mean?
Where he did.
So you don't want to put that image out, but at the same time you want to let them know, like, listen, just because I said one thing doesn't mean I can't still put out good hip hop. Doesn't mean you're not gonna want to listen to me and hear what I have to say because I'm Nas, yo. I've given you a reason to listen to me. I've given you tracks and stories for days to listen to me. Right now,
so what y'all listening to?
I'm blowing up that
honestly,
that Busta album right now. That Extension Level is so fire.
Word, that Extension Level 2? Son, that jump was kind of hard though, son. I was like, ouch.
I know, but it was just like the beat with the feeling of it was just, it was something to listen to by myself in a car. I love
I
Buster.
knew you loved Buster. Son. I thought
You
about you
know
the
it.
whole time when I was listening to that joint.
Yeah,
For me
man.
right now, I'm listening to some Afro beats right now, so I'm into that.
Afrobeats is huge, man. It's a nice rhythm. It's a good
I'm
pace.
listening right now. I'm rocking that Wizkid,
Yeah,
that new
Wizkid's nice.
Wizkid. Son.
Burner Boy's nice too.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's on
Burna
and
Boy.
off.
I feel like he on and off for me right now. Like when he came out with African Giant, that was my album, right? But the little tracks that he come out with, like the
He be
singles,
doing
I'm
like
not
some
really feeling
commercial
all of them.
shit.
I feel like he
Sometimes
kind of
like,
fell off a little bit. Yeah, like, I feel like he went too far on the other side, and like, and
I
he didn't he
didn't even
make
know
like a
that.
whole album with Diddy? Son, yeah, he came out with another album after the African Giant album. He made like a whole album with Diddy. But I feel like it's like rushed.
Yeah,
You know what I
man.
mean? I feel like Burna Boy now, he the type where like he got a lot of pressure on him to make a good hit now because people expect him to be hot. And like he not really playing up to that level anymore, son.
I mean, it just music is up and down. It's an up and down game. You know, it's
So
got,
what you listening to?
me personally, I've been listening to a mix of just like old school '90s hip hop and R&B, and one like CD or one album I always find myself going back to and playing
Yeah.
is, I don't know if you guys ever listened to the 444 album, but Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Bro, one song that I listen to almost every day before I go to work
Word.
is Story of OJ. That song just like in this climate, in this day, just resonates with me so much, bro. It hits home. Like, man, it's just like when you listen to Jay-Z 444 and you listen to the Story of OJ, it's just like Jay-Z's wordplay is just absolutely crazy. I think that's the difference why he called himself the best in the game. Nobody has better wordplay in a song or in music than Jay-Z, bro.
Yeah, my guy is just
Nobody.
he's the GOAT. He's the hands down GOAT to me.
It's I mean, everybody can make great music, everybody can make hits, but when you can make great music hits and then you have the wordplay, like, did he just say what I thought he said?
He got all of it. He got all of it. He can rap like Nas. He can rap like Biggie. He can rap like Pac. He can rap like Snoop. And sometimes he just put it all together in one.
It's like, man, he takes this, and then I've seen documentaries where he just takes songs like that, and most of it is off the
But
top.
that's honestly
You know what I
him
mean?
constantly sharpening himself, listening, and just putting himself like back and forth into the craft. Honestly, because he really is like
Yo.
going back and forth. I didn't even know he was gonna drop another album until like he did. You know what I mean? Like the same as Nas. You know, like I didn't expect that.
Yeah, that was dope, right? Son, I'll never forget that. Son, like I was in
Shoot.
Jamaica when he dropped 444.
Oh yeah,
So
I thought you.
I was loving it. I was nice. Like I think that's when he also came out with that title.
Yeah.
And you couldn't listen to it unless you had title. So that was the first time I got title too. I was like, yo, I gotta get title because I gotta hear his 444. But I think that was the first time I actually realized that. I was like, wait a minute, did he just admit to cheating on Beyonce?
Bro,
I
he says the craziest stuff. When Jay-Z's talking about like in a song, he goes from he's telling you like, so this is why I like the song so much. He starts the story off like, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Because OJ thought he wasn't black. You know what I mean? He thought he was just another one of these guys that just wasn't black. And then he tells you he's not a field nigga that shines cutlery. He's talking about like the slave mentality. And then he talks about the light skin, dark skin, fox niggas. Like he's talking about like all types of skin tones. And he tells you it don't matter what type of skin tone. Black is black, period. And then he goes like talk about financial freedom. He's talking about like owning property, and if you own this property, how much you would have made. Like he talks about buying art and then how it appreciated over time.
Yo.
It's like giving his kids wealth. Like his music is education,
and he make it sound dope at the same time.
Crazy.
Like something like that's the thing that where Common couldn't really be as good on that level because he couldn't say that and make it sound
dope.
exactly.
But I don't think you relate to it.
And then Jay-Z goes,
he pretty good though. Yeah, he pretty good though. But a lot of conscious rappers, they couldn't really change that.
And then when he goes like, but he's like, I'm giving you $1 million worth of game for $9.99. You know, and he's like, he's basically he just basically related all this information. But at the end of the day, he's like, this song costs X amount of dollars to have and to listen to, and if you listen to it, you can get $1 million worth of game. in the
Right.
$10 song. Like, come on, who does that? It's important, man. It's a good conversation to have about buying property.
Do you honestly take away and remember the fact that you got to keep in mind that he's telling you to buy a block? If you have the opportunity to buy a plot of land in your old country or something like that, then that's the best part. Like, I would love to have property in Haiti. I would love to be able to be like, yo, we own property in Haiti, and we bringing money back to our country, and everybody eating good and is happy, and we're getting prosperous. But like, not everybody is bringing that whole concept back sometimes.
Making sure you own your own stuff, your own content. What you build, your
Yeah,
brand is your property as well. People don't understand that. People are like, yeah, I'm gonna build this brand and sell it to a guy for $1
I know
million
you can't be
and
mad
he
at that,
makes
but at the same time,
$5 million.
what you got to remember
You
is,
know,
listen, if he can make five, next time put yourself a little bit, put yourself a little bit harder, and you can make 10. You know what I mean? Like he made that five just as fast as you made that one. So if you take your time and appreciate yourself, appreciate the work that you're putting into your work, you could definitely get that 10 out of yourself.
So, Mr. DeVille, like, do you think gaming can make you violent?
I
More
wouldn't say
violent?
violent, but it definitely up your confidence level depending on
no.
the type of game you're playing. So like you're playing a game where you're leveling up through series of adventure or activities and social gameplay, then that kind of like feeds into the whole fact of I have to work as a team or I have to at least work nicely with someone so we can reach a goal. So that's like ingrained in games, I think.
I I think personally, violence and emotional behaviors that are negative comes from your personal environment outside the video games. Does the video games enhance that in somebody? Depending on how bad your home situation is, yes, it could, and yes, it couldn't. But video games is really an outlet for most people because when you have a long day, when I had a long day, my kids go to sleep and I'd have energy, I jump on my Call of Duty, release some stress, get my levels up, and I feel a little good. You get a couple wins, it's nice because you're out there. I'm a regular Joe beating people who's doing this every day. You
Even
know
if
how good that feels. You know what I'm saying? So it does really bring out a little more competition in you because you feel like when you win, you can feel like you could beat anybody too. So it does
Yo,
help.
but I was the type of dude that used to be like almost afraid, like even when I was younger. Like, I mean, I didn't really have too much video games, but I always thought that playing video games would deter me from getting women because I thought that it would
I
affect
thought
my
that too.
relationship. Like, how does playing video games affect your relationship? Does your shorty get mad? Does your wifey get mad? Call
I
you
mean,
immature or whatever?
it
Does it
depends what
does
kind
it
of game
become an
I'm playing.
argument?
Honestly, I kind of gave myself a pause not to play Grand Theft Auto because I know how many actions and what and things I'm gonna get into. Blew them up because they deserved it, and like I can't control myself in not saying that. You know what I'm saying? Like even now when I'm playing Assassin's Creed, like I tell them straight, I'm like they robbed me, so I'm gonna go take over the whole country. This is like, but I gotta sneak in and take out everybody first. And we talk it out in strategy, and he'd be like, "Watch out, Daddy! Set a booby trap here." And it's funny because he's thinking instead of just go and attack everybody, set traps and don't get killed. I'm like, yeah, that's right, that's smart, son. Don't get killed, set traps. So it's like you can see in the sense
Exactly.
of where his mind is just by talking about the game. But playing Call of Duty, Reach that's not Reach's. That's not Reach don't like that because again, I get competitive. I'm talking mad shit. I'm getting real hype, mad loud. Real late at night when everybody's trying to sleep. Like I gotta like separate myself to get into Call of Duty.
I mean, personally for me, I've been in, like out of all the relationships I've been in, it hasn't been a problem. When you play and you get a couple of games in, it's not an issue. But when
Yeah,
you're
all
on there
days OT.
all day and you're not giving your significant other any attention or anything, and you just focus on playing the video game, that's when you have issues. You don't got to
Yeah.
be on it all day. At least get a couple games in, go 3 or 4 games, whatever. Get it like a good hour in, and then in between like each little session, like throw your girl like a hug or kiss or something like that, and you'll be fine. Most of these guys out nowadays, like they just like doing like 6 hours straight. You know what I mean? Into their girlfriend's back. Their girlfriend think they probably in a ditch.
Or
Incorporate them in what you're doing. When you incorporate somebody in what you're doing, that feeling of togetherness, then eventually you're like, I don't feel like playing. You can do your thing. See, once you get to that point, all right, bet.
Go ahead. You want to read me a story?
You know, and then they just bother you less. You just gotta understand like how your significant other ticks, and you just gotta make sure you're just not on that shit all day long.
Yeah, I was never the type to play it all the time either. So if I did play a little bit, like my wife never really like got on me about anything. But I do know that sometimes she would give me the look. You know what I mean? Like, and I know exactly what that look means. But like, I think exactly like what you said. If you don't really overdo it, it doesn't become an issue.
We have arrived, courtesy of Ja.
That's up, all right.
Where do I start? Come on. Where do I start? Where do I start?
Cafe Akpe. It's a conversation. Maybe that's it.
That's it.